Hey guys, today we'll discuss about another topic, that is budget in cost accounting. This chapter is purely based on your mathematical calculations. This budgeting is basically a forecasting feature that enables you to plan costs for the future. It includes your preparing estimates of future sales, cash calculation, and your preparing estimates of future day-to-day activities, etc. The format of budget is really simple. The sequence of heads is same as the sequence we have studied in cost sheet. In this also we'll study about your fixed and variable cost like we did in operating cost and machine hour rate. So let's get started. So here is the question. The following data is provided to you for a 60% activity of a company production at 60% capacity, 3000 units. That means at 60% capacity, the company produces only 3000 units. Now the material cost is your 100 per unit. That means for 1 unit, the cost of material is rupees 100. Then labor cost is 40 per unit, expenses 10 per unit. Now your factory expenses, which are your 40,000, in which 40% is fixed. 40% is fixed, that means 40% of 40,000 is fixed and 60% is variable. Then comes your office expenses, in which is your 30,000, in which 40% is your variable cost and the rest is your fixed cost. Now you're required to prepare budget at 80% and 100% activity. We know that at 60% the units produced are 3000 units. Now we will learn that on 80% how do we calculate the units. We'll start with the working note. We have seen in the question that at 60% the production was 3000 units. Now at 1% the company will produce your 3000 divided by 60, that is your 50 units. At 60% it was 3000 and at 1% it will be 50 units. Now you can easily calculate that for 80% it will be 50 multiply 80, that is your 4000 units. Now for 100% capacity it will be 50 multiply 100. Why we have multiplied it with 50? Because at 1% it was 50 units. So for 100 it would be 5000 units. Now you'll see the format. This is our answer. Budget at 60% we have 3000 units. Then on 80% we have 4000 units. For 100% we have 5000 units. Here we will write per unit, then total cost, per unit, total cost, per unit, total cost. We'll start with the material. We have studied that for material we have 100 units, 100 per unit. So for 3000 unit it will be 3 lakh. We will write per unit 100 for material, 100, this one 100 and 100. For all the units, that is for 60%, for 80%, for 100%, per unit value will be same. Like for material it was 100, so it will be 100 per unit. For 4000 per unit will be 100. For 5000 per unit will be 100. Now what we'll do, we'll multiply 100 with 3000, we'll get 3 lakh. Then 100 with 4000, 4 lakh. Then 100 with 5000, 5 lakh. After that we have labor. Per unit cost was 40. Per unit 40, per unit 40, and this, and we'll multiply it with 3000 multiply 40, then 4000 multiply 40, then 5000 multiply 40. Same we'll do in expenses. We know the per unit value of expenses, that is 10 rupees. Then we'll do the same. We'll multiply 3000 10, then 4000 multiply 10, then 5000 multiply 10. Okay. Now in our factory expenses we were given that 40% was fixed and the rest was variable. Now your fixed factory expenses, 40% of 40,000. Now it is 40% of 40,000, that is 16,000. Now you have to calculate your variable expenses, that is 60% of 40,000. Now it will be your 24,000. To calculate the per unit cost of variable, what you will do, you will divide 24,000 by 3,000 units. 24,000 divided by 3,000